Relationships are advantageous connections. So I've told you, you need to build, you need to manage, and you need to service. So you see, the connection that you want in your future are the relationships that you are building, managing, and servicing today. Let me tell you this, guys, time flies. And in another 4, 5, or 10 years, the people that you have built relationship with, they would have also grown the same way you have grown. Many of them would have even grown bigger than you have grown. But because you have built relationship with them, that becomes the connection that you enjoy. Welcome to the Upgrade Show. Yes, we're back again. I'm super excited and super pumped that we're back again on the Upgrade Show. But this time we are having this on the CECD Enterprise TV. Yes, the CECD Enterprise TV. Don't worry, you get to know a lot about this TV because they're going to tell you what they do, what they represent. But the most important thing is the fact that the Upgrade Show is back. Yes, and we are back with a bang. Okay, so how have you been? You know, prior to this time, we had the Upgrade Show before now, and it was phenomenal. It was amazing. But we had to put it on a hold for a while and get into doing some other things. But now we are back, and this time is going to be better, and it's going to be an upgrade from what we used to have before. So for today, on this segment on the Upgrade Show with Mr. Upgrade, we're going to talk about relationship. Yes, relationship. I know that is one thing that a lot of people really love. You know, people love. Yes, people love, but this is it. The kind of relationship that we're talking about is not the one that you are already used to. It's not the one that you feel that you already know. So that's why I would love you to sit back, relax, and have fun. You know, the reason why I say you should have fun is because the learning is always fun. For me, learning is always fun. And I tell people that if learning is not fun, then there is no learning at all. Learning ought to be fun, right? Because the things that you learn with pleasure, you always remember in full measure. Okay, guys, so what are we going to talk about today in relationship? Why do we think there is a need to talk about relationship? Now, see, guys, there's this thing that I observe among people, particularly young people. You know, you're not always going to be young, right? But the things that you do now are going to be ahead of you in your future. And one of the things that you can easily use to predict your future is the relationship that you have from now. The first thing I want to let you understand about relationship is this. Relationships are advantageous connections. What did I say? Relationships are advantageous connections. For every relationship that you have, trust me, it's an advantage for you. It's an advantage that you are going to benefit. It's an advantage that you are going to enjoy if you do what is necessary for you to keep that particular relationship. Now, you may be asking, what then is relationship? What then is relationship? There are different definitions of relationship that you would have. But one thing I always want you to remember, because I'm not necessarily going to define what the relationship is for you, but one thing I want you to remember is this: have it in mind that relationships are advantageous connections, right? Which means they are the connections that you have with people, with places, and with things, right? They are the connections that you have with people, with places, and with things. And we live in a world of relationships. That's the truth. Have you heard people tell you that if so and so just put a call across for you, then you get the contract, then you get the job, then you get the opportunity? Now, what is able for that person to do that on your behalf is because that person has a certain relationship with the person is putting the call through to. So you see why these are important that we understand. Now see this, guys. In biology, it talks about different kinds of relationship. There are the parasitic relationship. There are the mutualistic relationship. There is the commensalism relationship. These are different kind of relationship. And it's not just for biology. These are also relationships that happen to people in real life. Now, let me give you an example for parasitic relationship. You know, there are those people that all they do is take from you. All they do is want to collect from you. They are parasitic. And you know how it is defined in biology? It's a relationship where one benefits and the other is harmed. Right? That's a parasitic relationship. So the people are always there because of what they can get. They're always there because of what they stand to benefit. The people are always there because there is a motive for them being there. There's an agenda that they have. That kind of relationship is parasitic. And there are a lot of people who practice that today. They hang around you as long as there's an opportunity. And when the opportunity is no longer there, then they too are no longer there. They are parasitic people. And you must be mindful of the kind of people who are in your space. Watch them. Do this person only come around when there is a good news? Does this person only come around when there's something that they can benefit? Does this person only come around when they know there is something that they would gain, or there's something that would benefit them directly? That's why they show up. So for those kind of people, it's simply a parasitic relationship. And then there's another set of people, which is the commensalism, where one benefits but the other is not harmed. Which means one is benefiting, but there's no other benefit to the other person, but there's no harm either. Compared to the parasitic, where there is no benefit and there is harm. But for this one is benefiting, the other is not harmed. Right? But that's still not the ideal kind of relationship that you should be having. Right? And then there's the third one, which is the one I love the most, which is the mutualistic relationship, where both parties benefit from it. So nobody is losing. It's both win-win for all of them because both parties they benefit. Now that is the kind of relationship that you should have. That is the kind of relationship that you should build, where it is mutualistic, where it is both beneficial to both parties. Now you may be thinking, okay, but if I'm in a relationship with some people, what do I really have to offer them? Because they may have so much and I have so little. That's not true. I always tell people this. Every person has three things that they can give. They have their time, they have their talent, and they have their treasure. And if you know how to use these three, you can always create mutualistic relationship with people, with your time, with your talent, and with your treasure. You can always give something that they may not directly also have. So these are three kinds of relationship, and these are the relationship that you can find around if you pay attention to detail. If you just observe, you would see that this is what plays out for a lot of people. Now, follow me closely, guys. Beyond this that I have mentioned, why is this relationship even important? Why do we need to even be having this conversation today on the CECD Enterprise TV? Now, why is this important? Very simple. You know, you hear people say that, oh, I wish I know so and so. Oh, how I wish I knew so and so. Oh, how I wish I had access to so and so. And let me tell you this. When we said earlier that relationships are advantageous connections, relationships are things that don't happen on its own. I hope you never forget this. Relationships don't happen on its own. There are three key things about relationship. Number one, relationship is built. Number two, relationship is managed. And number three, relationship is service. I'll take that again so that you can remember it. Number one, relationship is built. Number two, relationship is managed. And number three, relationship is service. So it's the BMS of relationship. The BMS of relationship. So remember that. The BMS of relationship. It is built, it is managed, and it is service. Now, follow me closely. How do you build relationship? It starts out by having conversations. It starts out by being in the spaces of people you want to have relationship with. It starts out by hanging out with the right circle that you want to build relationship with, right? That's how it starts out, right? So probably you go for an event, you see a fantastic speaker, and you say, oh, I love this speaker, I want to have a relationship with this speaker. So you go and check their social media and you follow them, right, on social media, and then you start to comment on their works, you start to share on your story, you start to send, you don't send a DM yet, you just comment on their work, you share on their story, you just be like one of their raving fans, just the same way we support Manchester United. Yeah, shout out to all Manchester United fans, right? Just the same way we support Manchester United. Like I always tell people, there are only two clubs in the world, Manchester United and others, because it is God's greatest desire that all man be united. Now, back to our conversation. How do you build it? You build it by how you interact, how you have conversations, how you do your communication with the people that you want to have relationship. Remember, we said relationship is the connection between people, places, and things that you build. The connection between people, places, and things. Now, guess what? Follow me closely. Now, in building this relationship, it's going to cost you time. It's going to cost you effort. It's going to cost you resources. It's going to cost you money, right? And it's going to cost you service. So these are the terms for relationship. There is time, there's effort, there is resources, there is money, and there is service. This is how you build relationship, right? So you don't just show up today and then you don't show up the another 1 year and you think you're building relationship. No, you're not. You're not at all. You're just deceiving yourself. And you know, one of the worst and the deadliest form of deception is self-deception, right? So you have to give it your time. Show up. Send a DM. Don't send a DM. Remember, comment, share, follow up on what they're doing, buy their products, attend their seminars, right? Register for their courses. That's how you're building relationships. So you're not in their circle. You're not gradually being in their space where they can see you and take note of you. Now, if you succeed in that area, the next thing you need to do, guess what, is to now know how to manage the relationship. See, and this is where a lot of people get it wrong. You don't know how to manage relationships. You see, sometimes you may be looking up to somebody who is very short-tempered, who is very quick to anger, who's an E.B.A or I-done, right? I do not accept nonsense, right? But you must learn how to manage the relationship. Otherwise, you will lose out. You will lose out in the long run. So you know why you're here. So you need to swallow up all those things. Swallow your pride. Like I always say, swallow your pride because it's calorie-free. Swallow your pride. Manage the relationship. Right? When you do that, you are helping yourself to keep the relationship that you have built. You see, some people start out by building, but because they don't manage the relationship, they don't know how to manage the relationship, they destroy what they were building. So you see, you have people who say, oh, we used to be friends 2 years ago, but we no longer see eye to eye today. Why? Because something happened that could not be managed. And then they had to obliterate that relationship. But it doesn't necessarily have to be so, because you must learn to manage the relationship. So it starts out by you building, right? And then you move on to the next thing that you now learn how to manage. What's the kind of personality is this person? Okay, what is the thing that this place is known for? What is the thing that these people, they are associated with? I'm learning to manage the relationship because you need the relationship. Remember, we said they are advantageous connections. You need them. So because you need them, you need to manage them, right? And then the S in the BMS of the relationship, you build, you manage, and then you service. Now, this is the Oga Pata Pata of them all, to service the relationship. Now, I've built a relationship. I'm managing it. But while I'm managing it, there's something I must be doing, which is servicing that relationship. Now, I'm going to give you an example. If you notice that during the festive season, especially the Christmas period, you see that organizations, they send out hampers, gift hampers to certain customers. Not everybody who has an account in a bank gets a hamper from the bank. But there are certain people, they get hampers, they get bags of rice, they get cow, they get ram during those festive seasons. Why? Because the bank at that time, they are servicing those relationships they have with those customers. Because they know these customers will pull in millions during the financial year. So in order to service the relationship, to let them know that we appreciate doing business with you, this is our gift for you. What are they doing? They are servicing relationship. So for your own little relationship that you have, how are you servicing it? If you have a car, for example, and you don't service your car, it's only a matter of time before your car breaks down because of lack of servicing. The same thing happens for relationship. When you don't manage, when you don't service the relationship, even if you are managing it, it will still break down. You see, that's why we say you build, you manage, and you service. Right? Because service is the oil that keeps the relationship fresh. It's the oil that keeps the relationship going. And there are little things you need to service relationship. Little things. I'll tell you a few. Right? I call this one the power of 4 naira. You know, a text message in Nigeria is 4 naira. Literally insignificant. Doesn't mean so much. But guess what? That text message can go a long way in helping you service relationship. So I always tell people this, right? Imagine you go see a movie in the cinema, right? Any of the cinemas. And then, you know, when you go see a movie, sometimes they probably ask for, when you're getting your ticket, sometimes they probably ask for your number and all of that. Imagine when you're done, when you've seen the movie, you're done, you get home, an hour or two after you go home, you got a text from the cinema thanking you for coming to see a movie today. Tell me, how would you feel? Like in your mind, you're going like, wow, are you for real? I got a text message. In fact, you first screenshots or munch or whatever it is that you do and put it on your status, put it on your story, let people know that this is what you got today. And then you want to go and see another movie to be sure if that was a mistake or if that was just a one-off occurrence. And then when you go see another movie and then they do the same thing, guess what? They've been able to service that relationship with you. And then you can now become one of their raving fans and telling people, man, if you go to that cinema, I can assure you, they will appreciate you for coming. But you see, that was just 4 naira. What you spent in watching the movie was way more than that. But that 4 naira text was able to help service the relationship. You know, on your birthdays, if you get a text message, yes, as much as you appreciate it because it's your birthday, you have little or no value to it because it's your birthday. People by default will send you a message on your birthday. But imagine if someone sent you a message on a random Wednesday just to tell you, thank you for being amazing. I see what you do and I'm grateful to have you in my space. Guess what? That's going to blow your mind. Like, wow, somebody appreciates me. What is that person doing? That person is just servicing relationship. For you, that person becomes top of mind. But it was just 4 naira. Right? So you see, little things can help you to service relationship. But yet, many people don't do these things because they don't know how to. So far on this conversation, I've been talking to you about relationship and why this is important. Remember, we talked about the types of relationship you find in biology, and that applies also to people: the parasitic relationship, the commensalism relationship, and the mutualistic relationship. And then we talked about how do you build, manage, and service relationship. You know, when it comes to service, every human being alive have what is called E.B.A. E.B.A. And now this is not hot Gary this is not Gary and hot water, right? This is E.B.A. E.B.A. Emotional bank account. Now what this is that the more you do things for people, you are making deposits in their emotional bank account. And the less you do things for them and always try to make them do things for you, you are making withdrawals from their emotional bank account. So if you don't make more deposits than you do withdrawals, the account you have with a person will be in red. So by the time you come demanding or asking for something, the person will necessarily not want to help you because you have done more withdrawals than deposits. So in servicing relationships, what you're doing, you're making deposits in their emotional bank account. So let me tell you the truth, right? And I will not allow this. I'll be silent with this. See, guys, people can be very emotional. And that's the truth. And you must learn to play the emotional game by servicing the relationship, by making deposits in their emotional bank account. So you see that power of 4 naira? I want you to try it out and send me a comment in the comment section on the experience, what it did for you. Just 4 naira text. Right? Don't do a WhatsApp message because people don't really value it because they feel it's WhatsApp. But you see a text message. Anybody who sends a text message, somebody feels that the person took its time to construct the message and send it. It's more intentional and more deliberate than just a WhatsApp message or a DM on Instagram. Are you getting it? That's how you service relationship. Little gifts, a thank you note, a small gift. These go a long way in servicing relationship. When I go and meet people, I always give them a gift, no matter how little. It's my way of servicing relationship. Because truly, relationships are advantageous connections. So I've told you, you need to build, you need to manage, and you need to service. So you see, the connection that you want in your future are the relationships that you are building, managing, and servicing today. Let me tell you this, guys, time flies. And in another 4, 5, or 10 years, the people that you have built relationship with, they would have also grown the same way you have grown. Many of them would have even grown bigger than you have grown. But because you have built relationship with them, that becomes the connection that you enjoy. So for example, the person who's going to be the president of a country, he had classmates in secondary school. He had classmates in university. But not many of those people built relationship with him. Now that he's a president, they can't have access to him. They can only say, oh, he was my classmate. Oh, he was my coursemate. But because they did not build, they did not manage, they did not service, they can't enjoy that connection that he now has. The same thing with you. You're going to be big. I know you're going to be big. Anyone who comes on the upgrade show becomes big. You're going to be big. But you, at the time you're big, is the people that built relationship with you when you were nobody that you allow in your space now that you're big. So you see why it's important that you build relationship. Now I'm going to wrap this up with 3 questions that I know you may be asking. You say, okay, now you've talked about this. How do I now begin to fix relationships? How do I fix relationships? Now I know I'm bad at this. Now I know I've been doing what is in it for me with people. Now how do I fix this? Simple way to fix relationship is to actually serve. To actually serve. See guys, there are 3 kinds of service that people demonstrate. Number 1, eye service. Number 2, lip service. And number 3, faithful service. You want to build relationship, you want to fix relationship, give faithful service. That's the 3rd part. Eye service, lip service, faithful service. Use faithful service to fix relationship. Actually serve. And what do I teach people as service? That what service means? Service is simple. Service is the giving off of yourself faithfully for the attainment of a goal without the expectation of reward. That is service. So to fix any relationship, go and serve that relationship. Go and serve it. Right? When you start to serve, people would actually start to see your change behavior, because I always tell people that sorry is best spelled as change. So you want to fix something, go serve. Give up yourself faithfully in the service of that relationship and you'll fix it. And then another question you may be having in your mind now would be, when people don't value your relationship, what do you do? Now with all of this, yes, there'll still be people who don't value your relationship. What are you going to do at that time? I'll tell you, when people don't value your relationship, it's okay to cut them off. It's okay. Jesus gave a very critical example. In his hometown, they did not respect they did not value his relationship. Because of that, he couldn't do mighty works with them. He actually had to let them be. Right? So when you don't value your relationship, it's time to give yourself some respect and restrict access to those people. Yeah, that's what you do. Create boundaries with those people because they don't respect it. And Jesus said something very succinct. He said, do not cast your pear among swine. So when people don't respect or value your relationship, it's time to pull the plug. Right? And then the third thing that you may be wondering is, when is the right time to walk away from a relationship that is parasitic, relationship that is toxic, relationship that doesn't do me any good? When's the right time to walk away? The right time to walk away was yesterday. The right time to walk away was yesterday. And walk away and don't look back. Because let me tell you the truth, people who live as friends, they return back as fans.